Welcome back to PV Online, and we're going to solve the puzzle of filling out the empty blanks. And so you can see with this object, whatever it happens to be, that we have an applied force of 50 newtons acting to the right. Friction's got a force of 10 newtons. The weight of the object is 80 newtons. And so we want to figure out, first of all, could you find the normal? What would be the normal force? And since we're not told anything about it accelerating up and down, I can say it's a pretty safe bet to say that the mg and the normal force, that these two forces are equal and opposite. So let's go ahead and fill him out and say that the normal then is going to be 80 newtons. Next, we want to figure out the mass. What is the mass of the object? Well, we know that the weight of this, or the force due to gravity, equals mg. Since the weight of it was 80 newtons, and just to make it simple, let's just use a g of 10 for right now, and that gives me a mass of 8 kilograms. So the mass of my object is going to be 8 kilograms for this. And now we want to figure out the acceleration, but in order for us to figure out the acceleration, I have to find the net force first. So to find the acceleration, we've got to find the net force. And I know that it's going to be accelerating horizontally because my applied force is larger than my frictional force. So the net force is going to be 50 newtons minus the 10, which means that the net force is actually going to be 40 newtons. And if my mass was 8 kilograms, 40 divided by 8 is going to be 5 meters per second squared. So with just a handful of forces, we were able to fill in all the rest of these, fill in the blanks for the rest of them. This time let's try one, but we're not going to be given the picture, so we're going to have to make our own picture. And so we've got our box here, a box, and we have a rightward force. So this force is going to be 150 newtons. We have mg, the weight of this. We have the normal force. So let's see if we can fill out the rest of these. And I know I'm going to have a frictional force. We want to have the mass, which I believe we were given, which is 20 kilograms. And we were told that the acceleration is 2 meters per second squared. And so we want to fill out the rest of these. All right, what could you start with? What could you answer right now, given the mass? And given the mass, we could find out the weight. Again, let's go ahead and use g as 10 just to keep it simple. So that means mg is going to equal 20 times 10, which means I'm going to have a force or a weight of 200 newtons. Now, as soon as you know mg, I also know the normal because those two are going to be balanced. So that means the normal force is going to be 200 newtons up. All right, next, let's go ahead and do the net force because I know the sum of the forces equals the mass times acceleration. And we know the mass of this thing is 20 kilograms and my acceleration is 2. That's going to give me a net force of 40 newtons. So that means that when I subtract these two, I'm going to have 40 newtons left. So to find that frictional force, we know that the sum of the forces is going to equal my applied force minus my frictional force. The net force, which was 40, equals the applied force, which is 150, minus friction. We solve for friction, and we get 110 newtons. So treat this assignment as if it was a puzzle, and you're just going to be filling in the blank. Good luck, and we'll see you next time.